Hey guys, thanks for joining me back here again. This time we are going to take a look at Classic WoW and specifically the Feral Cat talent specs. To make it a little easier, I tried to create a visual representation of what each of these talents are for. We got the O's, which are for both bear and cat, and then you got cat, bear, and PvP. The Feral Charge ability, I always take it, but I know a lot of specs that you can find on the internet will just ignore it. It has tons of upside, and I love it. So you can play with these extra talent points as you want, but do so at your own risk. So the first spec we're going to take a look at is the Deep Bear talents, the ones you would pick if you were going all-in bear and not even going to mess around with cat form at all. Jumping into the talent calculator, we'll start over here with balance. Unfortunately, there's nothing really worth picking up in the first row. Extra 10% damage, followed by Omen of Clarity, which can help you out with rage a little bit. Feral Aggression sounds like it might be a good thing to pick up for tanking, but it is absolutely not. This talent is actually the least useful for cat DPS also, and the first thing we'll drop when we make it a hybrid build. We want Thick Hide, and we want Feral Instinct, followed by Sharpened Claws, increased Rage, increased damage on Maul, Predatory Strikes, Heart of the Wild, Leader of the Pack. Then we come over here, we put our points into Furor, and then we want improved Rage, and I missed Feral Charge. So this is what it's going to look like. We don't need the cat abilities here. Bash is really a PvP talent. It can see some upside in dungeons, but outside of that you would never really need it. And that is this spec. Mostly what we're doing here is getting this improved rage, which a lot of specs we get rid of because it's not really necessary, but here it is. Next is a mostly bear spec. This one is going to be for the person that will maybe play cat for some dungeon or two, or for just grinding and farming. Taking a look at the talent tree, there's a very small change we make. Obviously getting improved enraged taken off because we don't really need it. And then we'll take points out of Thick Hide and put them into the extra combo points and the reduced cost of Shred. And this is the build you would go with if you wanted to be a very tanky but still playable cat form. The next spec is a much more hybrid spec, focusing more on being a very playable cat and a very playable bear, which you could use both in raids. This is the spec I went with personally back in Classic myself. Going back over to the talent tree, we can see that the thing we need to pick up to make our cat much more useful is Natural Shapeshifter. We'll do that by taking a point out of Primal Fury, just slightly less chance to get that 5 rage. And then we'll take 2 points out of Thick Hide. A lot of people are probably going to say, why would you take points out of Thick Hide? This is what you take points out of for bear form to make your cat more playable, and that's just how it is. At the higher gear levels, this is much more manageable than at the lower ones, and if you're playing a much more DPS threat skewed gearing for your cat, your bear, tanking as a bear and more of the hit rating stuff, you're probably going to notice taking these points out a little bit more than somebody who would play a more defensive style. And if you're playing a much more aggressive tanking bear, you might find yourself wanting a much more defensive talent build, which would be the other ones and not this one. So that is this build. Alright, next on the list we have the Deep Cat build, which is going to be for just cat DPSing. This build is not going to have anything that you would need for tanking. Going back to the talent tree again, there's really only one thing we need to do here. I think I need to take this out to move these points. Nope, that won't work. We'll just start it over. We put our points into Ferocity and this for Ferocious Bite increase. We don't need anything in the second row. And then we'll jump down here. We put the points here just because we need them somewhere. You can move these anywhere. This point is really for like low-level battlegrounds. It's the best upside, and then just low-level leveling before you can mount. It has other values, but once you get cheetah form, it's kind of pointless. Then we can get predatory strikes. We need our damage, fairy fire. And what did I not put a point in? Must have been charge. Which you could, again, put up here anywhere you want. Bash instead, sure. But this is bear form only. It does not work in cat like it does in later expansions. So to do the silencing effect, you need to swap into bear and then charge. So that's why I wouldn't probably not go with this. Maybe you could enjoy the extra prowling. You know, these 3 points are really just wherever you want to put them. But they do need to be up in this area. Last but not least, we have the Resto Tank build. I think this is one of the more popular tanking builds just because you can be a tank and a healer and fill whatever role is needed. I tried this in Battlegrounds because the gear is going to have, you know, spell power, stamina, intellect on it, all the great stuff, and it was terrible in PvP and I hated it, so I didn't play it. But I know a lot of people really like it, so here it is. Alright, it's going to be a lot easier to start with a blank one here. We're going to pick up all of the bear stuff, but put as few points into the tree as possible because we need to save room over here for all the talents we need to pick up. Which I'm already going to mess it up, I'm sure. That's what it was. Charge. Gotta have charge. Everybody agrees that charge is great. I don't know why some builds you find on the internet, you don't want that. Don't have it. Then we want, so we pick up our Führer, then we want Healing Touch, and then we want Reflection. Everything over here doesn't really matter, but we need to pick up Nature's Swiftness. So we're just going to grab Insect Swarm, because why wouldn't you? And then you have the extra point, which usually gets stuck here. Just 4% less threat is literally nothing, so if you wanted the improved Enrage, you could put that there too. Then, get Tranquil Spirit, and yeah, you don't pick up Leader of the Pack. I don't know why I did that. There it is. Because this is the important thing, Nature's Swiftness, for those instant heals, which can be lifesaver in PvP, which is why I tried it for that case, but wasn't for me. There it is. I'll have all the builds down below so you can quickly find them and not have to watch this whole video. If you did, thank you, and make sure you hit the like and the subscribe button down below because it really helps me out. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day.